I can tell you a lot about the strange laws in an extremely developed Asian country, South Korea. Known for its rapid development, along with cultural icons like K-pop and Hallyu, South Korea also leaves a strong impression with its quirky and sometimes very strict regulations. Without keeping you curious any longer, let's start the journey to explore 15 prohibitions and strange things that only exist in this country. Prohibition on wasting food. If you have ever watched Korean movies or been to South Korea, you will notice that they never leave any leftover food. Koreans are known for valuing and being frugal with their food. This attitude towards food appreciation may have ancient roots, as Korean children are taught from a young age to eat sparingly and not waste food. The way Koreans express their respect for food is also a manifestation of gratitude for nature's bounty and appreciation for those who cook delicious meals. Therefore, they eat with utmost joy and heartfelt thanks. In every Korean household, there is usually a large refrigerator to store food. If you observe a Korean breakfast, you will see a table filled with various dishes, but each dish is often prepared in small portions. The dining table includes various types of soup, rice, and side dishes. In a traditional Korean family, a meal typically consists of 6 dishes. Each family may choose different side dishes to suit the tastes of its members. Importantly, they almost always finish everything placed on the table. Korean women are also adept at balancing the portions to ensure everyone is satisfied with just the right amount of food for the family's appetite. Number 14. Comfortably discussing hygiene matters. Another thing that will astonish you about Koreans is that, while Korean culture seems to highly value modesty and respect for others, they are very open about discussing hygiene matters in public. Yes, they can talk about it even during meals, discussing how their stomach feels today, any issues with their digestive system, topics related to home hygiene, proper hygiene practices, and even the effects of certain foods on their bowel movements, all discussed as comfortably as any other casual topic. In Korean culture, people can feel at ease discussing topics such as personal hygiene, including during meals. In this cultural context, talking about health and hygiene is not considered sensitive or something to be avoided. If you hear Koreans discussing such matters during a meal, just try to keep eating, as they won't stop anytime soon. Number 13. Prohibitions in gift giving. In every culture, gifts carry different meanings. Koreans also have specific taboos regarding gifts that we should avoid to prevent unfortunate misunderstandings. It is not advisable to choose sharp objects such as knives or scissors as gifts. When receiving such a gift, Koreans may think that you want to sever ties with them. Sharp objects are also believed to symbolize evil and malevolence, so receiving a gift like a knife or scissors is considered inauspicious. Another prohibited gift is a handkerchief. In Korean culture, handkerchiefs are used to wipe sweat and tears, symbolizing hard work and sorrow. Moreover, when transliterated into Hanja, a handkerchief also carries the meaning of separation or farewell. For couples in love, it's highly discouraged to give shoes. A pair of shoes is seen as a means for both to quickly walk out of the relationship. Therefore, when giving shoes to a romantic partner, they may give you back a small amount of money. This action turns gift giving into a transaction, preventing any negative impact on the relationship. Remember these details to choose a suitable gift for your beloved Korean friend. Prohibition on tipping. At a restaurant or shop in South Korea, if you are very pleased with the service and want to show your appreciation with a little tip, you might receive an angry look from the server, who may immediately wave you off. Why is that? You're just trying to thank them, right? I know it seems very illogical, but let's stay calm because things are not as you think. It's just a bit of a misunderstanding here. South Koreans often expect high-quality service from staff at restaurants, eateries, and other services. Therefore, good service is seen as part of their professional responsibility, not something that needs to be rewarded with a tip. If you offer them money, they might think you are disrespecting them, and they may pretend to be grateful just to get more money, rather than genuinely acknowledging their good service. Negative attitudes towards the concept of tipping in South Korea are quite common. Service personnel, shopkeepers, or taxi drivers in South Korea never bring up the topic of tips. Instead of leaving a tip, you can tell them to keep the change if you feel it's not worth much. This approach is considered more subtle and polite. If you're in South Korea and have tattoos, you should find a way to cover them up immediately. This could be considered a survival rule when visiting this country. Despite being a developed nation, South Korea remains very conservative regarding the concept of tattoos. Social prejudices and strict legal regulations have led many public places in the land of kimchi to refuse service to individuals with tattoos. Signs like, "Not allowed if the tattoo is larger than 15 centimeters," or "Cover your tattoos with clothing when entering the gym," occasionally appear in front of gyms, swimming pools, hotels, or cafes in South Korea. Statistics indicate that tattoos are becoming more common in South Korea, especially among the younger generation. However, for various reasons, society does not fully accept or hold certain biases against those with tattoos. One reason is that many recent crimes and suspects in South Korea have had tattoos. Confucianism, widely practiced in South Korea, tends to create negative perceptions of tattoos, with the idea that humans should preserve their bodies as they were born. Tattoos are also prohibited in mainstream media. Television producers often cover actors' tattoos with flesh-colored tape or makeup, even though the Broadcasting Commission does not have specific regulations about airing tattoos on screen. A recent survey by Korea Research, with 1,000 people aged 18 and older, found that about 66% of adults consider tattoos a mistake, and 60% feel uncomfortable with large tattoos. To avoid unnecessary trouble and being denied service, it is advisable to cover up tattoos when visiting this country. Once again, let's delve into Korean dining etiquette. But this time, I won't talk about chopstick usage. Instead, I'll discuss all the things prohibited when dining with Koreans. Unlike in some other Asian countries where people lift their bowls while eating, Koreans keep their bowls on the table and use chopsticks or a spoon to scoop up food. Lifting the bowl is considered akin to begging for food. When eating soup, Koreans also do not have the habit of lifting the bowl close to the mouth to sip the soup. Koreans particularly dislike making noise while chewing rice. This action is deemed impolite and can be unpleasant for others during a meal. To avoid spitting out food, they also limit talking while there is still food in their mouths. Additionally, one should neither eat too slowly nor too quickly. It's important to observe the eating pace of the eldest person at the table and adjust one's speed accordingly. Finishing the meal and leaving the table before the eldest person is considered rude. In general, Koreans are very mindful of their eating habits. Although some actions may seem awkward to outsiders, they are considered polite in Korean culture. When in Korea, try to eat in their manner to show respect for their culture. Travelers to Korea might be surprised to find that the number 4 is often omitted in elevators, hotel rooms, and more, as it is believed to bring bad luck. The aversion to the number 4 in Korea originates from ancient beliefs. In the Korean language, the pronunciation of the number 4 is like the word for death and is associated with various unfortunate occurrences. Koreans even avoid combinations like 14, 44, and 444, considering them even more inauspicious than the single-digit 4. Scientists believe this is a manifestation of tetraphobia, the fear of the number 4. Symptoms of this phobia include avoiding the use of, or contact with, the number 4 and its multiples. It is quite common in East Asian countries such as China, Japan, and Korea. To avoid this number, Koreans employ various methods. In elevators, they replace the number 4 with 3A. In public buildings, funeral halls, hospitals, and so on, the 4th floor and room number 4 are often skipped. This fear of the number 4 in Korean culture can be perplexing for foreign visitors, who may think they are in the wrong place when they see signs like 3A or TH, or assume there is a mistake with the numbering. In addition to the number 4, Koreans also avoid the number 13. They often avoid gatherings of 13 people, associating this number with evil or bad luck. So when in Korea, it's best not to mention the number 4 unless you want to be considered a bringer of bad luck. South Korea may have one of the lowest crime rates and highest life expectancies in the world, but don't assume that Koreans always lead extremely healthy lifestyles or don't know how to enjoy life. If you doubt it, just look at these pictures of drunken men. Every Friday, from the late afternoon to the evening, the streets of the capital, Seoul, become crowded and lively with office workers heading home. They spill onto the streets and into the subway. However, the destination is not home, it's the bars and restaurants. After a week of hard work, this is how men relieve stress and have fun with friends. But because of this, around midnight, you'll witness the sight of drunken men lying spread out in parks, on benches, or in the subway. Drinking has become a cultural aspect for Korean office workers. It's rare for you to escape these gatherings, as companies often provide financial support for employees to participate in drinking sessions. The consequence of these gatherings is the night spent in a stupor on the streets or at subway stations, as you've seen. Of course, these individuals are not in good condition, and their health may be affected, but never touch them or their belongings. Bystanders may consider you a criminal, potential kidnapper, or threat. Sleeping on the streets has become a cultural norm in Korean cities, so no matter how much you want to help, refrain from touching them. When in South Korea, there might be many things and people that pique your interest. Just take a quick glance. Don't stand there and stare at them from head to toe, as they may scold you and ask you to leave. Simply put, South Korea has a culture that values respect for others. Staring can be seen as disrespectful and an invasion of personal boundaries. Being stared at can affect a person's self-confidence. Therefore, behaviors that make others stand out from the crowd are often considered unwanted actions, whether unintentional or intentional. Regardless of the context or your expression, in most cultures, staring behavior tends to make people feel uncomfortable. So, when in South Korea, no matter how curious you are, don't stand there staring at others. Instead, approach them and express your curiosity. It will be better received. Strolling around the streets of South Korea in the freezing weather, you might feel the urge to light a cigarette. However, as soon as you ignite it, you might be surprised to find yourself approached by the police. Upon reaching the police station, you'll be informed that smoking in public places is prohibited. In recent years, smoking in public places in South Korea has become increasingly restricted. Restaurants, cafes, and even buildings are considered no smoking zones. The government has enacted laws to control smoking in public places, prohibiting it in subway entrances, tourist areas, stores, and cafes. Although designated smoking areas have been specified by the government, you may still see people smoking on the streets in South Korea. For foreign visitors, it's advisable to observe no smoking signs carefully. If you accidentally smoke in a restricted area, you may face penalties under the law. When in South Korea, if you have to sign or write someone's name, absolutely, I must emphasize absolutely, do not use red ink. Red symbolizes blood, and red ink from a pen is no different from an expression of blood, a sign of pain and loss, especially in South Korean culture. In the past, the names of capital punishment criminals were written in chicken blood, later replaced by red ink. Moreover, in Korean culture, writing someone's name in red ink is considered taboo, as the red color serves as a reminder that their time on Earth is coming to an end. This belief extends not only to individuals, but also to groups or organizations, such as companies or businesses in a state of impending bankruptcy, where the names of the company owner or the company itself might be written in red ink. When someone passes away, their name is often written in red ink by family members, with the belief that doing so will ward off evil spirits. For the living, writing names in red ink is believed to reverse this effect. Therefore, people avoid using red ink for names except in cases where wooden or stamped seals are used. To avoid being perceived as cursing others, it's advisable not to use red ink when writing names. Beyond that, red is also a color that signifies fierceness and conflict. In ancient times, if samurai wanted to duel with someone, they would write the enemy's name in red ink in a challenge letter. In modern times, this act may symbolize a desire to sever communication. In addition to these beliefs, in everyday life today, red ink is often associated with negative elements. Red pens are usually reserved for correcting mistakes, so using them in other situations can create discomfort and, in some cases, make people feel disrespected. To avoid causing discomfort and misunderstandings, it's advisable not to use red ink when writing names. In modern times, we often strive to achieve what we want through effort, but for Koreans, effort alone is not enough. They also incorporate elements of spirituality and luck, especially when it comes to exams. South Korea places great importance on the college entrance exam. To achieve good results, students must focus intensely and dedicate all their energy to studying. Alongside these efforts, they also follow certain taboos in the hope of smoothly passing the exams. One food that is strictly avoided before exams is seaweed soup. The slippery nature of seaweed might be associated with slipping in exams. In fact, there's a Korean proverb that says eating seaweed soup, with the meaning of failing an exam. Additionally, foods high in oil and with a glossy texture such as black bean noodles are on the list of things to avoid. Koreans believe that consuming such slippery foods may cause luck to slip away from them. There's also a Korean saying, as broken as porridge, so students tend to avoid eating porridge before exams. In addition to these dietary restrictions, students refrain from washing their hair the day before the exam, as they believe it causes knowledge to slip away completely. In general, Koreans are quite superstitious, and even if these practices may seem irrational, it's essential to respect their customs and traditions. When visiting South Korea, you might be eager to try their way of using chopsticks. However, before lifting those chopsticks, it's crucial to thoroughly understand the taboos in Korean culture to avoid unintentional offenses. Uneven chopsticks, crossing chopsticks, sticking chopsticks into rice or chewing on chopsticks are all considered major taboos. From ancient times, these actions were thought to signify bad luck. In traditional beliefs, it was thought that after a person passed away, the coffin lid would not be sealed for a period. The coffin is made up of 2 short wooden boards on the sides and 3 long wooden boards on the bottom. The combination of 5 short and long boards creates the shape of a coffin, symbolizing an unfortunate event. Therefore, uneven chopsticks represent an ominous sign. Additionally, tapping chopsticks against the bowl is associated with begging. In the past, only beggars used chopsticks to tap on bowls to make a sound while requesting food. This behavior is considered disrespectful and inauspicious, especially when dining with others. One particularly taboo action you should never commit is sticking chopsticks vertically into a bowl of rice. This act is akin to placing incense in a bowl, resembling a ritual for the dead. Inserting chopsticks into rice is believed to be similar to a ritual offering for the deceased. If you find yourself doing this, don't be surprised if you're met with disapproval and immediate attention to your perceived lack of awareness during the meal. Do Koreans like to drink? Surely you can observe this through many scenes in Korean dramas and movies. Gatherings, friend meetings, or company parties are never without the presence of alcohol. South Korea stipulates that only adults are allowed to drink. Therefore, many people express the desire to drink alcohol as soon as they come of age. For Koreans, drinking is not just about socializing, it's an interesting cultural aspect. Soju, representing Korean alcoholic beverages, is a source of pride for the nation. It is a highly favored drink among Koreans due to its long-standing tradition and cultural significance. This alcoholic beverage is widely promoted through various media channels. Koreans enjoy soju partly because of its affordable price, sweet taste, and ease of consumption. However, if you want to get drunk with them, you need to consider whether they accept you doing so in their social gatherings. A single inappropriate action can change their perception of you. When drinking, Koreans are strictly forbidden from pouring their own drinks. They should only pour for others. It is essential to observe whether others have finished their drinks before refilling their glasses, and pouring is only done when the glass is empty. A taboo action is not to let the mouth of the bottle touch the rim of the glass, as this action is reserved for offering alcohol to the deceased. When pouring for elders or those of higher status, it must be done with both hands. If an elder offers you a drink, you should stand up, bow slightly, receive the drink with both hands, and wait for them to drink before taking a sip yourself. When taking a sip, a younger person should turn away, avoiding drinking directly in front of the elderly. Indeed, I have not seen drinking rules as intricate as these, but as Asians have a saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Just follow these rules as a sign of respect for their culture. Revealing some skin when wearing attractive outfits is common in many countries. However, in South Korea, you won't see any girl dressing in such a style. Even deep V-neck clothes might attract disapproving and disdainful looks from Koreans. You may see Korean singers wearing very revealing outfits on stage. As artists, their dressing style tends to be more unconventional than most people's. As a leading country in the fashion industry, Korean women naturally have countless choices, but most of them refrain from wearing deep V-neck clothes for fear of being negatively judged. South Koreans hold traditional and conservative views on women's attire, emphasizing modesty in clothing. Although modern individuals are generally more open-minded about fashion, there is still a certain limit to this dress style. Even when going to the beach, Korean girls don't wear bikinis. They only wear them for photos, and then change into thin, covered dresses from head to toe. Despite not showing cleavage or revealing their figures, I can assure you that Korean girls will still captivate you. If you plan to visit South Korea, make sure to check and understand these rules to avoid awkward situations. Keep your trip a memorable and positive experience. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other interesting videos about the cultures of countries around the world. Thank you for accompanying us, and see you in the next videos.